Hey everybody, what's happening? So I thought I would do a video instead of typing everything out, which would take me longer to type out than it would be to just tell you what's happening. And besides, who wants to read anyway? Anyway, so Tiffany was actually not due, for those of you who don't know, she was actually not due until August 26th. And over the weekend, we were on our baby moon. We went to the Hyatt Regency, or the Aventine Hyatt Regency up in La Jolla. Great place, great people there. We spent 2 nights there. And then we went up to the Omni La Costa Spa and Resort. And the reason for all this is we were originally planning on a baby moon back in early April, sometime. But the truck driving school thing came up, but Tiffany already had the time off work, so she just went to Europe without me. Well, she met up with my mom out there, so she was in good company. So this weekend was kind of her to chillax some more and me getting mine, I guess you could say. My opportunity at a baby moon. So we checked in La Costa Saturday, and everything was going great. Saturday night, she started leaking a little bit. We weren't sure if it was her water breaking or if she just was peeing. We don't know, so we thought we'd kind of wait and see. And this was right around midnight. We had just crossed the threshold of 32 weeks. It was like 32 weeks and minutes when all this happened. And so that was happening on and off. The next day, it kind of continued, kind of not. It was intermittent. We still went to brunch, and she was fine as long as she was sitting down and not moving. We had originally planned on just going to the actual spa that afternoon, like getting checked out, seeing if we can access the spa some more, but she wasn't really feeling up to it. So we'd also planned on maybe going to the Orfila Winery and just kicking back and enjoying the sights, but better safe than sorry. We decided to come home and kind of play it out and wait and see, because we still weren't exactly sure what was going on. After Tiffany talked to her mom and her aunt, they both said, "Hey, sounds like water's breaking. Make haste. Go to triage. Don't stop for a banana split." I guess Tiffany's grandma did that with her. I don't know. I don't know if it was some sort of a weird tradition or something like that. "Hey, my water's broken. Let's go get a banana split on our way." Anyway, went to triage, and we found out, yes, her water has broken, but it wasn't a big. And the reason we really weren't sure is because it was a leak. It wasn't a full-on burst, if that makes sense. It would almost be as if you have an IV bag and somebody just poked a hole in it versus somebody coming up with one of those knives from Crocodile Dundee and just slashing that thing right open. So they admitted her and said she's doing fine. They're not going to. She's in the hospital until Dexter comes out. They're not going to induce anything. They're not going to induce labor. They're just going to let it play out and see what happens. She was being monitored, because if that happens, if the baby loses water, then there's a risk of infection. So that's why they kept her in the hospital, so they can monitor all that. And then they said if it had been 34 weeks, and it was one of those we didn't know. Could be hours, could be 2 weeks. We didn't know how long she was going to be there. So if 34 weeks, if we hit the 34-week mark, then they were going to induce labor, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken about that part, but pretty sure that was what they said they were going to do. At the 34-week mark, and she hadn't given birth yet, they were going to do that. So Sunday was great. We watched. We'd already seen it already, but they have movies in the rooms. We watched the Jumanji remake, which is freaking hilarious. And if you haven't seen that, it's been a while since I've laughed that hard at a movie. Both times. It's one of those movies I can watch 500 times. It makes me laugh every single time. So all was great. And then I went home. I went home, came home to get some stuff, took it back to the hospital. We're at Sharp Mary Birch, which is 10 minutes from where we live. So it was a piece of cake for me to go get some stuff and come back. dropped off some gear, and then came home. I think it was after midnight by the time I finally came home. And I told her, hey, call if you need anything. I usually have my phone on silent when I'm sleeping, but I'm like, my phone, the ringer's going to be on. And if I don't answer, blow up my phone until I do, because I tend to sleep through loud noises. 2 combat tours in Iraq and sleeping through mortar fire when it's not my shift. That'll do that to you. Anyway, so just a few minutes after 6 in the morning, she called and said, hey, it's happening. I can't remember exactly how the conversation, what was said, because I'm not a morning person. And my answers were very, yeah, okay. All right, all right, I'm coming in. Snot. So, went in. I'll spare you all the details of getting checked in and the drama and everything with them not sure who I was. No, I'm sorry. But anyway, so I got back, got suited up, went back, and she did have to have a C-section because Dexter was partially breached, partially traversed. So for those of you who don't know what that means, a normal birth, the baby comes out head first. When the baby is breached, comes out feet first, and that's usually not good. So what doctors will do, they'll either do a C-section. If they can avoid that, what they'll do is they'll sometimes put the baby back up inside and turn it so it'll come out properly. But transversed, one of those two, is when the baby's laying sideways. So we were hoping, believing for a natural birth, free of complications. And honestly, well, we didn't get a natural birth. There really were no complications. Just baby was laying on his side. There wasn't time to move him, so they cut her open and brought baby Dexter out to see the world. So as of right now, and even when they massaged him, made sure he is breathing properly, and he is just fine. He's been kind of doing the baby Groot thing with me. During Tiff's pregnancy, I saw him kick felt him kick maybe twice. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I felt him kick. I'm like, I don't feel anything. And if you don't know, I'm talking about Baby Groot with Baby Groot and Drax. Baby Groot on Guardians of the Galaxy. He's kind of dancing, and then every time Drax looks at him, he just freezes. He stops what he's doing. And that continued even after he came out. I would come downstairs, and the nurses would be like, oh yeah, he was really feisty like 5 minutes ago. I'm like, of course he was feisty 5 minutes ago. But I'll take that as a compliment, because he knows that dad's coming. He better behave himself. Mom is great. Mom Tiffany is great. My wife, she's doing well. The pictures that I took, she wasn't just posing. She wasn't faking a smile. She was really happy the whole time. She feeling great. She was on some good drugs. Dexter is doing great. He's progressing really well. They had him on a CPAP machine to get air into his lungs, but because of how he was progressing, they slowly minimized the level of intensity of air they were putting into his lungs. Now he is on what's called 21%. We breathe 21% air right now. It's not the type of, they just have a hose hooked up to his nose there. I'm a poet and didn't realize it. But it's just it's a flow. It's not air being forced in. Kind of like if you go to the dentist office to get your wisdom teeth pulled, they put a little oxygen on, or if you're getting a cavity filled or something. But he's been progressing along great. Doctors are telling us that we could take him home August 26th, which is the due date. But if he's feeding and breathing normally on his own without any events, as the nurses call it, where they're having to do some stuff, take not evasive action, immediate action, then he can come home before then. So for our mental or our emotional sanity and well-being, we're just mentally preparing on him not coming home until August 26th, but he'll be home before then. we're not sure when exactly, but he is now in what's called NICU and ICU, neonatal intensive care unit. He's got the nurses that are watching him. They're great. They're fantastic. I can't say enough good things about him. It is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's I take it back. There's a 90-minute window, either 30 or 90 minutes. It's like a 90-minute window one time a week where we can't be back there because of some kind of something they told me, but I can't remember everything that was happening. But outside of that 90-minute window, we go in any time of the day. We just have to scrub in and all that good stuff. Because Tiffany had a C-section, she's in a hospital right now. She will be coming home tomorrow, and I believe that's it. And, yep, coming home tomorrow. Still doing great. She's up moving around on her own, not needing a wheelchair. And it wasn't until day 2, some of you saw the videos and pictures, that we were able to get some actual skin-to-skin time with Dexter. So he's not so fragile to where we can't do that. So that was fantastic. And okay, I lied. I totally cried when I was there watching the video of Tiffany getting to hold baby Dexter for the first time. Oh, the other fun part too was putting in the phone calls to immediate family. I was really excited, and I had to contain it because I had other people around. So I was giving a play-by-play in a very low roar, kind of like this, like I'm a golf announcer. And here we have Tiffany holding baby Dexter for the first time. It's a real emotional moment. But now that I'm home, yeah, this is really awesome! Okay, I can yell, and my neighbors know what's up, so they're not going to call the cops on me. File a noise complaint. So, summing up, Dexter's doing really well, and Tiffany is a rock star, of course. So thank you so much for everybody that reached out to us, and for well wishes, and everybody being in agreement and prayer with us that everything is going to go off. Everything is going to go smoothly. A quick recovery for Tiffany, and that Dexter will get to come home sooner as opposed to later. So, love you all. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this, and yeah, we'll probably give you some updates as we'll give you some updates as they come along, but it won't be as long and thorough as this one. God bless.